one question is, when those Americans traveled to India after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, one thing that they kept saying was, you're India, you care about multilateralism, you care about the UN, you want this seat. And we're condemning Russia for something that's very clear, right? It's a violation of sovereignty. You don't have to talk about democracy. You don't have to talk about human rights. You don't have to talk about who's right and who's wrong. It's just, why not take a stand given your commitment to the UN and your aspirations? And I ask this not to interrogate in any way, shape, or form. It's more to understand, what was it? What was India's thinking on why not to sort of stand up and say, we're on the side of the UN Charter, right? And so therefore we will kind of tick the box and line up with all those other countries that have condemned what was seen to be clearly an illegal transgression of a sovereign nation.
So I'll respond to this, but let me give you my assessment of my conversations with the Americans at that time. Unlike the Europeans, the Americans did not really ask us that question. So let me also tell you this, that it was the Europeans who wanted us to stand on the side of the UN Charter. The Americans understood what we were doing. So let me be very honest. The American thinkers, foreign policy practitioners, and political leaders who I have met during that period understood what India was doing and why it was doing. It were the Europeans who still continue to ask us, why are you not voting on the side of the UN Charter? And my response to that is that in an ideal world, we should be voting for the UN Charter, each one of us. And each of us should be defending the concept of the much larger concept of national of sovereignty in the international architecture, of a rules-based order, of integrity of territory and territorial integrity, and or everything else that we have signed on to when we became members of the United Nations, right? So that's the ideal world. In the real world, you have friends, and you have relations, and you have important dynamics that have served your security, your safety, your growth, your economic prosperity. I mean, look, America bombed Iraq to the Stone Age. Where was the rules-based order then? And since you have just moved here from UK, did UK vote against the Americans at the UN? Did you stand for the UN Charter? Did you defend the sovereignty of a people? It's not that everyone in UK was applauding.
I was in Washington at the time, just so you know.
Oh, good. So you were bombing Iraq. Okay. Well done. So we should have voted against you. But my point here is that there are relationships. There are relationships which are real. Relationships that have served people, served causes, served continents. The US-UK relationship was a relationship forged during some of the most critical periods of human history, including, getting us through the 40s, the big war, right? Now, America does terrible things occasionally. I don't see UK voting against it ever. Or any of its friends, by the way. I think the Germans abstained, or Germans probably, in the case of Libya or one of the...
Libya, 2011, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was the time when the Germans moved away from the pack and they took a stand which was different and perhaps abstained. I have not seen any Western country vote against Western transgression. I've never seen it. Why? Because your relationship is important for the foundational stability of the architecture you have invested into. And good people do bad things, you don't condemn them. And that's again a very, very Occidental thing. Oh, he's made a mistake, so now condemn him. If he's our person, forgive him. If he's someone else's person, condemn him. We don't work like that. For us, the Russia relationship was significant. And yet we were so deeply disappointed in Russia's actions that we abstained. Now imagine a country that has used its veto so many times in India's favor, watching its friend abstain and not support it. We were not among the countries who voted for Russia. The message was not to Europe or America. The message was to the Russians that we like you so much and yet we abstain because we disapprove of what you have done. We are not with you on this. So if you look at the vote, which was abstention, and the readout along the vote when we gave our statement, the statement was an attack on Russian action. The voting was abstention, right? So you tell your friend we are not with you by abstaining, and you make a strong statement against the actions, but you don't throw them into the ditch.